another friend who's coming, who's a dentist here in town, and he's gonna teach people how to do preventive dentistry. Obviously, if you get in a situation where you can't have access to a medical facility or a dental facility, it's critically important that you are able to do some self-sufficient things on your own to take care of your teeth, because obviously if you're JR, that if being out in a survival situation, if your teeth go bad, you are in deep trouble. So we're going to even have a dentist there.
Tooth pain will distract you to the point where you can barely function. And of course, it could actually, if you get an abscess tooth, you get blood poisoning. It could actually kill you. So
absolutely.
Before we move on from the veterinarian, I've been in touch with a veterinarian. He's internationally known. He's been contracted by FEMA to write an instruction manual for veterinarians to treat human beings. The due date was the 1st of January this year, and as far as I know, it's still not done. But FEMA's in a big hurry to get this manual done because they believe there won't be enough medical doctors to treat the human beings and what's coming at us.
Well, that's I tell you, that's
it's sobering.
Concern. It makes you pause.
It's very, very, very sobering. Yes, it is. Okay, moving on here. We talked about it kind of, sort of, but high yield gardening.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm really excited about this class. We literally have an instructor that is internationally known in regards to high yield raised bed gardening, and he does multiple classes here in the Ozarks every week, every month. And his class he has instructors all around the world that have taken up his specific art of raised bed gardening. And he's going to be here at our seminar. His name is Lynn Pence. You can go to gardeningrevolution.com to learn more about him. But he's going to be here on site. This is a rare thing that this gentleman does. He doesn't leave his farm ever, but he's leaving his farm for us. And we're excited about having him. And he's going to, literally, John, he can teach you, put seeds on the tip of an eraser, heirloom tomato seeds on the tip of a eraser, and he will teach you how to raise those things, and it'll feed an entire family for a growing season, among various other types of vegetables and fruits. It's totally amazing. I went out to his farm the other day. I think he had like a 10 by 20 foot raised bed garden. He said, "Mark, that'll feed your entire family for the rest of the year." And I'm like, wow. So, this is some good stuff we're going to be teaching people.
Absolutely. Well, that's really good news, because even most city lots, a quarter acre city lot, you could come up with 10 by 20 feet in most city lots.
Certainly. And that's what this is designed for. And you don't know this about Springfield, Missouri, but we have a group called the Well-Fed Neighborhood Alliance, and their goal is to set up 10,000 gardens within this community, this greater community, and they are well on their way. They have thousands set up already, and they are essentially using this raised bed gardening revolution technique by Mr. Pence here in the city. We also recently passed an ordinance, and this has happened in major cities around the country. I don't know if you've paid attention to this, but we recently passed an ordinance here in Springfield where you can raise chickens. You can raise up to 6 chickens now in the city. We're going to have a local dealer, Somo Ag, is going to come in and teach people how to raise chickens properly in the city. And actually, we're going to be giving away baby chicks at the Expo.
Well, chickens aren't the problem. It's the roosters that are the problem in the city.
That is right. I think we're going to have some problems here before too long with some complaints, so that's okay.
We got another listener here who doesn't have internet access and needs that number to get a ticket here, Mark.
Oh, most certainly. It's 417-200-4715, and if they'll wait till we're off the air, John, and call me, I'll take their call, and we'll set them up. We'll reserve their tickets and make sure they have some tickets at the Expo, the Get Prepared Expo.
Give that number one last time before we've got another caller. One last time for that number.
417-200-4715.
Okay, real good. And we got Doug in Tennessee. Good morning, Doug.
Hey, you piqued my interest when you talked about what kind of things to look for in a farm, because I've been looking at a farm that for my family's survival, and it's got south-facing view for for solar power. It's got a cistern, 500-gallon cistern with spring-fed and pumped up to the house. It's got 35 fruit trees and about 35 acres. What else should I be looking for?
Well, do you have some pasture for your cattle? Do you have cattle?
I don't have cattle, but
okay.
I'm hoping I can get out to that seminar and learn how to get
cattle aren't the
farming
only
again.
option. Our recently departed Derry Branfield frequently said that goats are the most productive animal that you can have for meat and milk.
Well, I grew up with goats, so I know what those are about.
Yeah, I bet you do. You need
Keep away from the cars.
Yeah, you need a strong fence. Keep them away from the cars, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing like little hoof prints on the hood of your car. Oh, boy.
Yeah, they like to play mountain goat on your car.
Yep. Well, it sounds like you're well on your way there, Doug. I don't know what else we could tell you. Just make sure you got. You already bought the place?
No, I've been searching. I've been looking at this one for about 6 months. I keep going back to this one.
Okay. Here, I'll give you some perspective here. I would drive for 1 mile in each direction on all the roads nearby and look for homes that have all kinds of trash around them and maybe 2 or 3 dead cars. You don't want to live in a neighborhood that's got very many places like that. Maybe 1 or 2, but if there's a lot of places that look like what I just described, you don't want to live in that neighborhood. You're going to end up with problems. If people have trashy homes with trash laying in the yard, dead cars up on blocks, and so forth, you'll end up with criminals for neighbors. Another thing is, when you do make your move, be sure you ingratiate yourself with the community. Get active in the community, join your local church, get active in some civic and social organizations, so you're not a stranger into the community. You need to become part of the community. Okay?
Okay.
All right. That would be wise. Anything else right now, Doug?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was you or Bill Deagle that said on the east part of the country you need to be a mile high on it, but I don't know of anywhere that is a mile high.
No. I've never said you need to be a mile high. The Navy says the East Coast is going to take damage up to 400 feet above sea level.
Oh, okay.
And your problem east of the Mississippi is population density per square mile. You've got a lot of areas in Tennessee and the Appalachian Mountains where you look around and you say, man, there's not many people here. That's a deception. Once you're east of Mississippi, your population density is 2 or 3 times higher than it is west of Mississippi. And that's something you need to be prepared to deal with as refugees coming from these densely populated eastern cities. So let's just keep that in mind. That will be part of your life, is dealing with refugees in a severe long-term crisis.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do there.
Well, that's why you need to become part of your community.
Doug, you need to come to the Expo and learn more about it. And that's an excellent point that you make, JR, about getting connected, because we have a 3-part focus on the Expo. Number 1 is obviously emergency preparedness. Number 2 is how to live a more sustainable life. But 3, and more importantly, is connecting people and businesses, because when times get tough, it's those relationships that you make that matter. You know, Derry Brownfield used to say, our good friend Derry used to say, the best time to make a friend is before you need one. And that's exactly right. And I can tell you there's a lot of people who are going to make lots of friends at the Expo. Just organizing this Expo, JR, in the last 6 to 8 months, I've literally made hundreds of new friends. And when times get tough, I know who I can depend upon. I know who I can trust. And that is the most important factor for this Expo, and why people need to get connected here and in their communities. You're exactly right, sir.
Okay. Anything else, Doug?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see. Where were we at here? We did the dentist thing. Self-defense for women and children, we covered that. Canning from your garden.
Yes. Actually, what Lynn is going to do, he's the raised bed gardening guy, and he has a wonderful facility here in the Ozarks. And he teaches you how to do the raised bed gardening, and then right on site there, they also have a canning facility. So he's going to come in, he's going to do half of a presentation on the raised bed gardening, and then he's going to do the other part of the presentation on canning and preserving, because obviously you can raise all this great food, but if you don't know what to do with it to store it, it's not going to do you much good. So that's an important factor of a more self-sufficient, sustainable lifestyle.
My great aunt, summer before last, she didn't put up as much peaches as she did the summer before that. This past summer, 2011, she didn't put up any peaches, but she's 105 years old.
Wow. You know, when I was growing up, my grandmother lived in Minnesota, and I grew up in Texas, one extreme from hot to cold, but I went to Minnesota, and it was just amazed me as a kid going to my grandmother's cupboard and all of those mason jars that she would have full, dozens and dozens of mason jars full of fruits and various other things, and you just don't see that anymore in America, and we need to get back to those days.
You don't know my neighbors.
Well, good. You got good neighbors, and I don't see them much around here anymore, unfortunately.
I'll tell you, opening up the cupboard and seeing all those dozens of jars of canned goods really does give some peace of mind. It really does.
Most certainly it does.
Okay. Let's see. Marksmanship, one of my favorite topics.
Yes, we have a very good friend of ours who's NRA certified, and he is going to teach marksmanship. And actually, we're going to have the. Have you heard of the Appleseed Project by any chance, John?
I've interviewed the proprietor of Appleseed. In fact, if you look at his ad, you'll see that the book Patriots Surviving the Coming Collapse is offered at his advertisement. That's because of me. He didn't know that book existed until he talked to me.
Well, then you know exactly who these people are and what they're going to be able to accomplish at the Expo. The gentleman here, the local director of the Appleseed Project, is going to be here. They're going to have that seminar, and people can come in and learn about more about rifle shooting and various marksmanship skills. So we're excited about that seminar.
Well, it's very important and very foundational for liberty, I believe. Wills, trust, and estates and financial structuring. Yeah,
our Branson Tea Party organizer is also an attorney, and he does that for a living, and he's going to come in and do it.
Break. Phone number is
okay.
800-313-9443. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Mark, we're almost out of time here. We started to talk about the finance part of this, the estates and trust, but we're really up against the clock here. We have some listeners, I'm sure, that didn't get that phone number if they don't have internet access to get the free tickets. What is that number one last time?
Yes, sir. 417-200-4715, 4715, and we're about out of our tickets. I think we've got a few more left. You can go to getpreparedexpo.com, send us an email in the subject line, put free ticket, and then we're also gonna draw 2 free VIP tickets, this exclusive reception, which will include you and John Stattmiller, Pat Shannon, and all of our other special guests, singers, performers, sponsors. And we're going to give away 2 of those, and we'll make people aware of that here by the end of the day.
Well, it may not surprise you, but I'm personally acquainted with a number of your speakers. Bill Federer is a friend, and I've met Larry Pratt on a number of occasions. It's going to be a kind of a reunion for me in a lot of respects. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to meeting you, Mark, and meeting Vince, and this is going to be a very special thing. We not myself, but there was a number of these types of events back in the mid to late 90s, and they kind of petered out there after 2001. But it's good to see that somebody's grabbed the bull by the horns and is doing this once again, and it looks like the demand is there, doesn't it?
Most certainly, the demand is there, and it's just not from our local community and around the state, but from around this nation. We've gotten calls from I'd say at least 30 states where people are coming or interested in coming. We had a guy call us from Chile, South America, the other day, and he does a survival consulting for major corporations, people out in doing exploration out in the middle of nowhere in South America, and he's so excited about what we're doing, he's decided to come up on his own dime and teach a seminar about surviving out in the wild blue yonder. That's the type of response that we're getting, John.
I want to meet this guy.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys would have a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
You'd really identify with
he and I
each other.
consume a few cups of coffee